Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's No FOMO Charts, Stocks, and Crypto Technical Analysis live stream. It is Monday, June 19, 2023. It's about 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the stock market was closed today. It was a holiday today in the USA. So we have a 4-day shortened trading week this upcoming week. To get started, there's only a few major USA earnings releases. There's FedEx, Darden Restaurants conglomerate, and there's CarMax as well. There's a few other companies as well. Now, there's going to be more attention pointed towards the Fed chair, Powell. He's testifying before the US House and Senate committees for 2 days this week. We also have additional FOMC member speeches. We have unemployment claims, existing home sales, manufacturing PMI, and services PMI data as well. There's more data in there as well. And just some short-term news. Last Wednesday, the USA Federal Reserve, the FOMC, paused interest rate hikes for June, which is this month. But Fed Chair Powell did say that more interest rate hikes are scheduled for later this year. And so the CPI and PPI inflation data numbers, they're actually down, but we're not at the bottom of inflation right now. Goods and services products are still expensive right now in USA. And the 2% target, it's going to take years to get down there. So the Fed chairman basically said, I'm paraphrasing, you could watch the whole live stream on YouTube or read a news article about it, is that they need to see more data. And then the July Fed Reserve meeting is probably going to be live streamed on YouTube, so that's going to be interesting to watch. Now, in crypto, this is actually good news. Finally, Binance USA Crypto Exchange and the SEC, they agreed upon a deal to keep USA customer assets, the money in the USA. That's finally a positive with all these crypto lawsuits. But I do want to mention to people that this lawsuit between the SEC and crypto regulations could take years. Businesses, it's not an overnight fix. So the lawsuit and the businesses changing their business and their regulations and their protocols and everything on their back end, that could take years. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Today's going to be a shortened stream. Usually I go a little bit too long, so today I'm going to try to go shorter. Welcome, everyone. Again, I am streaming live on TradingView, YouTube, Twitch. We also have a Twitter group. All right, we're starting off with stocks. SPY, S&P 500 here. Now, I do want to point out, it's reaching up towards that resistance area, this first X. The first X. Now, I do want to zoom in on the daily. We do have kind of this larger, not quite a bearish piercing candle. It's just a red candle that is kind of signifying some kind of potential, a little bit of buyer exhaustion. If we measure this channel, which is approximately about 3%, we didn't quite go 6%, but we did hit that 3% target. On the weekly, this is not quite a shooting star, but we want to watch out for potential reversals on the weekly chart. So bearish engulfing candle, evening star pattern, a gap down, bearish gap down, or a bearish engulfing, maybe some doji candles. This is a bearish engulfing candle setup. We haven't seen that yet. But at the same time, you want to just kind of watch out for on the weekly. We're approaching that overbought, so maybe in the next couple of months we might see a larger pullback. The only good thing I'm going to say on the daily is we are still in the golden up cross here. Now, if someone's trying to enter into new positions, I recommend trying to wait maybe to the 430 area on the SPY, or perhaps 422, 413, or 400 if it ever gets back down there. Basically trying to buy at levels of support and not at resistance. Okay, next, QQQ. QQQ, NASDAQ, it's still in the golden up cross. And again, tech is getting a little bit overbought. It's getting a little bit too overextended, getting into the sky here. Not quite extreme. It's not poking out of the Bollinger Band in terms of the volatility, but it is getting a little bit overbought at this point. And again, on the weekly, not quite seeing a bearish super setup yet, but getting into that kind of exhaustion zone. It reminds me a little bit of the beginning of this year, January 2023 on the weekly. Now you can see on the RSI, the NASDAQ is approaching the upper 80s RSI, which is the overbought range on a weekly. We are not having a super bearish setup yet. There's no double top or anything on the weekly yet. It's probably approaching that before we get a pullback. I'm not saying we're going to crash again. It's just a little pullback on the way down. We need to retest that zone of 345 to establish that support. Already on the daily, I've been calling this for a couple streams now, is the bearish divergence is forming. The bearish divergence is forming, and it's a matter of just getting enough sellers to come in and pull that back down, or bearish catalyst. I do not want the market to crash. I'm just saying we might pull back to about 350 or 330, etc. DIA, Dow Jones, is at a resistance point. If I make this a little bit more accurate and we get multiple touch points, this resistance right about 340, let me put it in yellow so you can see. The 340 resistance makes a little bit more sense. There's also a 345, a 352. So you can see it's just getting stuck here on this resistance zone on the daily. The good thing is Dow Jones on the daily is still in a golden upcross. It's been consolidating for about 6 months. The weekly, again, we're having a little bit of this kind of hesitation candle. It's not extreme green, just green bullish to the upside, and it's not a reversal on the bearish. So this week will kind of determine, this month as well, the direction of that. The Dow Jones. IWM is slightly different because it was a bounce support play. You could see in this yellow trend line on the bottom how many times it hit support. 1, 2, 3, 4 major times. We had the double bottom W reversal. We hit that target 6%, and then the traders know to sell off there. And it is hitting a resistance point as well. So many ETFs, in terms of the XL ETFs, like sector ETFs, they're all at this resistance point for the most part. So growth stocks hitting a relative resistance high. And we're going to see if we're going to get this continuation breakout or not. If we pull back, that's fine. I'll re-enter here somewhere. But I already took my profit on some of my trades last week. So just in case it does fall back down to the downside. Just want to point out for IWM, it's not really a super overextended to the overbought RSI range. So I'm very closely watching this 190 area. All right, to speed it up, US oil did happen to bounce off of this support level, and so it's consolidating inside of this little price structure. Still a descending triangle with the measured move. If it breaks out, it's still 8%, so this X on the top of $70 is still the target. If it happens to break down 8%, it's $57 on the bottom side, black X, or blue X, I should say. And it's still downtrending in a long-term weekly chart, so you know, the big rally on oil is kind of over. Now, the good news on UNG is we had a very nice bullish rally, little baby rally or gap up here. And like I'm saying is, if we're getting this triple bottom area at above $6 on UNG, this is nice. As long as it doesn't keep going down, let's see some reversal. On the weekly, we're already starting to see a bullish engulfing candle. This is not quite a morning star, but this MACD histogram is very, very large in terms of the momentum. Could take several more weeks or months for this thing to turn around and see if it breaks out above 750, 759, and if it holds. I do not want to see a dead cat bounce. That just bounces and falls down. That's a fail on the setup. But, you know, like I've said multiple times, UNG is not a very technical stock or asset ETF that responds to technicals well. It's more about the fundamentals or supply and demand, meaning If there's no more sellers, the price should go back up. GLD gold, still similar to what I said last week. We'll look at the price first before these other indicators. GLD gold hesitating below this resistance. It used to be a support, but we did not bounce to the upside. So it's hesitating right at the 236 Fibonacci. If we have a breakdown, it could go to 177 where these gaps are. Let's bring up the gaps finder from TradingView. It's free. I might change the color here so we could see. Just make it bright blue. These are kind of my colors so I can see better. There we go. So in terms of the support level, 180, 175, 171, and that happens to almost be Fibonacci levels as well. But you can see the fact that it's hesitating. It's actually in a symmetrical triangle right now. So volatility probably about plus or minus 2% up or down. Gold, there is not a bullish engulfing candle yet, and that's how we know on the weekly we're not getting significant buyers, and the volume is pretty low as well. Moving on to silver. Silver, I did close out my short long time ago in this area right here. I took my profit and I'm out of there. That trade is done, profitable. Now it is riding. If there was an upside down head and shoulders, we did lose that neckline, but it's riding up that support trend line in the longer term. Hopefully that can go into some continuation to the upside and see a little bit more equilibrium continuation to about 23.30. Checking the daily, there is that MACD histogram as well, and it's still open. So it's just a matter of, will people actually buy that? Will the shorts close out? Because if this price went low, high, low, then I would say, well, it's probably another short decline on the selling, but it's actually holding that support nicely. Last one I do want to show, XOK. Again, this is the tech stock. Just visually, XOK is reaching a resistance point up here, and it just broke out of there. But XOK, I mean, it's at all-time highs right now. That's why it's really struggling right here. In terms of, this is the pandemic ending high before we crashed in the market. We retraced that. That's why people love tech stocks, because you have a crash, a reversal or flattening, and then an uptrend. If you want to study charts, just study something like this. The whole pandemic for the past 2-3 years until now this is what I did for myself. How do I know when something's going up? How do I know when it's flattening? How do I know it's going down? How do I know it's going back up? The charts will tell all of us that if we just kind of study and learn from it. And sometimes it goes up for a really long time. Now, people are asking me, well, is the market going to keep going up? Yes or no? It should keep going up because we have this golden cross as a marker, an indicator that we're in a healthy market. Also, we're 61% off for the bottom. So tech is in a raging bull market. The problem is it can't stay up here at the top forever. It has to pull back down, establish a level of support on the floor side, and then people will buy that cheap discount, aka buy the dips. High, low, high, low, high. We haven't had a higher low for some time. Could come down to 161 before we get the next leg up. All right, let's move on to crypto. Let me check my requests. I'm going to try to go very short today. Thank you for watching and following. Appreciate that. All right, so let's go to crypto. I am streaming live on TradingView, YouTube, Twitch. We have a Twitter group as well if you'd like to support and follow along and follow to just join on the community. Always appreciated. All right, total crypto market cap. Now, with that little bit of good news on Binance, that's good. We all needed that, okay? Because you have to realize that if the news on crypto kept getting worse and worse every single week, then we probably have some major pullback. But Binance USA and the SEC government institution agreeing to keep US customer assets here, it could be viewed as good and bad. It's good that Binance USA doesn't have to completely flip its banking and cold wallets, but it's also bad because the SEC can have more control over it. Does that make sense? So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. But at least for US customers, good that US customer funds are going to stay inside of USA. in the banks here, or the bank, I should say. All right, so total crypto total market cap. Let's start on a weekly first. If we go all the way back, I'm on a logarithmic scale, and we draw some extended trend lines. One from here. This is a pretty tight trend line. Don't mind the bottom side. It actually still makes sense. Do you see that? It's twisting and turning right here, hitting here and here as well on the price. Still in that rising wedge pattern. Now for crypto market, this is what I'm saying. As soon as we lose this support and we close below that and start downtrending, that's probably when it's game over for crypto in terms of the price rally going up. Okay. There is still a little bit of potential hope. I don't want to sound too bearish or hawkish at this point. So I'll just read what I see on the chart. On a weekly, there is a potential upside down head and shoulders bullish setup that could occur here. It could occur once we establish the right side of here of the price structure. What is that measured move for the market? I would say about 50% to the upside once it breaks up to that range, which would take us to 1.7 trillion, or it could take us double that to about 2.1 trillion. Now, the reverse case, the bearish case is if this turns into a head and shoulders and we have a slew of really bad news, meaning more lawsuits and things keep cascading negatively, then this can turn into a bearish setup with a negative 25% drop, which should take us back down to 764 billion or lower, which would mean all altcoins crashing down. So we are at a very important pivot point in the crypto market right now and in the business regulations. We knew this was going to happen for about 4 years, 2 to 4 years, ever since 2019. Binance.com had to move all the US customers to Binance.USA. That was fall and winter of 2019. I still remember that. Let's go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin USD. On the weekly, I could draw that similar line. This is still in my profile and my ideas. But you draw a very long line. This line actually is more of just a solo trend line because it's goes about 4 years. The longer line can go about almost 8 years back, and see, that makes more sense back there. We do have this, and we also have this trend line. Okay, so on Bitcoin, on the weekly, don't want to get too obsessed about this, but in terms of the price first, there is still room for Bitcoin to drop. You could see both of these support trend lines. There is room all the way down to about, I would say, the 20,000 to 22,000 range on this support yellow trend line. We do have a MACD histogram down cross on the weekly MACD. And so typically when that happens, it could signify some kind of pullback is ensuing. There's not quite this bearish, super bearish setup, but at least some kind of mini pullback if support does not hold on the downside. Let's check the weekly candle. This is still a normal consolidation. I would be more bullish if we had a little bit more support like this, a large hammer candle with the bullish engulfing. Maybe that's going to happen with this little mini morning star here. So the bulls really they have a lot of work to do in terms of buying back the market, and the businesses have work to reduce the fear, uncertainty, and doubt in their customers to get them back to come back and invest in the business or invest in cryptos. So cryptocurrencies, crypto boards, crypto exchanges, they all they have a lot of proving to do on the documentary evidence side, and the price has to prove it to me as well. All right, but we are seeing a little bit of signs of life. Okay, we're seeing a little bit of signs of life here on the crypto market. So one good thing is just mentally and physically and on the price, we're not crashing down every single day. It's not like that. So I know the hodlers, they're just hodling, they're ignoring this period of time. For me, because I'm a trader, I'm very sensitive to the news and I'm very sensitive to the price movement and for what's going on here in terms of swing trading or day trading, right? I want to see bigger buyers. I want to see Morningstar pattern. I want to see bullish engulfing candles. We are in this little bit of descending wedge. So until we break out and really break out above 30,000 as an investor, this is kind of a not exciting time in crypto. We're stuck between 25,000 and 30,000. It's a very quiet period. So it's going to take a positive catalyst or big millions of dollars buyers to really change the market direction and sentiment or some kind of government change. I do want to point out, I didn't mention this last time, on Bitcoin, we are still in the golden cross uptrend and we just bounced off that 200 EMA. So if you're a perma bull, if you're a super bull in the crypto market, this is actually a good play because we've tested the 200 EMA one time, high, low, high. If this is our high or low, we should be able to break 30,000, 35,000 easily in the next year if the government doesn't not interfere, but they don't want, as long as the crypto exchanges don't get sued too much. Okay. So we held that 25,000. That's fine. That's totally normal. Let's see some bull follow through on the buy side. Okay. Ethereum weekly first. Weekly again, when you pull up the EMAs, it's actually not that scary looking. You put this is a daily chart. All right, there's a lot of lines here. Let me just erase this, make it easier on us to see. Now, the price in white of Ethereum, if we use a little short-term, this is a 6-month trend line. Yes, we did lose that resistance. Excuse me. Yes, we did lose that support right here. So low, high, low, high, low. That's okay, but it is below that resistance trend line. Still angling on the downside, and it's not really uptrending right now in the short term for about 3 months or 2 months. There's still a chance here. Why am I saying that? You pull up an EMA up cross. On a weekly EMA up cross, yes, it's still up cross, but the price is below the EMAs. Ethereum is a little bit in a bit of a pickle, so to speak, meaning it's in a little bit of trouble, but as long as we get big buyers to the upside, it should be okay. Now, if you see a big sell-off, this is why I'm hands-off right now. You never know. If some miner or whale panic sells and this goes red for a week, I'm going to be really glad I didn't buy this yet. I want to see a little bit more evidence because I'm more of a conservative investor when it comes to cryptocurrencies, because crypto is very catalyst-based, meaning there's good news in events, price going up. Bad news in events, price going down. It's very sensitive to that, crypto market. Because these cryptos, they're not real companies. They're not real business products and services that you can use every day yet. It's still almost like a digital concept. It is a coin and a token, but it's not adopted mainstream yet. AI, artificial intelligence, generative AI, was more widely adopted in a matter of 6 months. Way more than cryptocurrency has been. So in terms of the price, again, Ethereum needs to prove itself and break above the 200 EMA and get back inside up into this wedge, or else it's going to reject down and then price discovery to the downside. Where can it go? 1600, 1400 support, resistance, 1800, 2100 resistance. Binance Coin. Now, here's where I like to pull up a volume profile for 2022 until now. We'll hide everything else. Just look at the volume profile here. Now, this is a visible range volume profile. You can see the majority of that volume around the $300 mark. That's why you can see all this price. It kind of averages out to $300. Right now, we're at the support level, but right below here, you can see there's a large hole in the visible range volume profile. That could be a problem, which means there's not much support in this open circle range until you get down to about 136. So Binance really has to make some major moves in terms of everything I said earlier, in terms of, yes, whatever they can get into compliance with the SEC, yes, 100% get into compliance. But then also, we're going to start to see these crypto exchanges present their documentary evidence that supports their case, their side of the story. Okay, because the SEC lawsuit is very accusatory, right? It's very, this is what the crypto exchanges did wrong, number 1 through 10. So the crypto exchanges are going to have to refute that, right? So we're going to see the price react to that. If we have good news in Binance Coin or Binance Exchange that proves their innocence, basically, and that they were in compliance, we should see the price go up. However, if they lack that documentary evidence, and they're going to have to go to court and they're going to have to go under oath and speak the truth and show the true evidence. If there's not enough evidence and the SEC ends up start winning directly or indirectly, we're going to see the price go down. Okay. Fundamentally, that's what's going to shake the market. Now on the weekly chart, all right, I do see a little bit of short closing here. This is shorts closing, a little bit of bulls saying, well, let's just buy that low RSI on some of these shorter term time frames. In terms of a super bullish weekly setup, we don't have that like we did in June 2022. So in crypto, we're going to have to wait. Crypto, waiting is the hardest part. On the daily, if you're really excited, on the daily, yes, there's a MACD histogram momentum, but we have a death cross right now. So the Binance Coin price has a lot of work to do to get investor sentiment back. All right, let's go to Ripple, XRP. We're going to end soon. XRP, USDT. So XRP, first thing is we're still in a daily golden cross. I want to point that out. The 50 yellow EMA and the red 200 EMA. We're still making our higher highs and our higher lows. That's okay. We didn't quite break out above this ascending triangle. That's a little bit of a problem, but we're trying to hold the support on this yellow trend line on the underneath side. Now zooming in, it looks really confusing, but you can see we're holding support, great. Now we're hitting this resistance area. So if we can hold above this 46, 47 cent range, high, low, we should be able to break out if the news is good. So basically, if the price does not keep dropping, where else is it going to go? It's either going to go sideways or people are going to get excited and buy it up. Okay? So time in crypto, time heals most problems in my experience. Watching 2018-17 crash, pandemic crash. Sometimes crypto, if there's some major scandal, just let it end, let it get resolved, let everybody move on from it, and look forward to the next setup or news. We are losing a little bit of momentum, so that's why it's right now the market is showing two signs. Some people are bullish while the technicals are a little bit bearish right now. It really depends on your time frame, your mindset, and the evidence that we all have. Right? Because some people, I saw tweets about like on-chain metrics. Yes, I understand that as well. I'm a technical analyst, so I look at the price. I look at indicators as well to look at some kind of general forecast. This is leaning a little bit bullish, like 55%, 60% bullish, just on the technicals. Yes, with the resistance, we're holding that support, and we just need a breakout of here on at Ripple. I don't want to get people too hyped up about this. If we do have a bearish pullback, this could turn, like I said last time, into a double top M, bring us back down to 42 cents or worse. Maybe 33 cents range in the 0.88 retrace. So definitely want to watch out about that. Our Cardano, let's take a look at Cardano. So this is what happens when you get bad news. Bad news. Delisted by Robinhood, also listed in the SEC lawsuit. That they're so, for now it's innocent until proven guilty, right? In a court of law in USA. But the sell-off is real. This is real. All right, we were in a steep downward channel. We almost had a chance at a rally, and the market and the lawsuit stopped that. This is what I'm saying. If this happens on Ripple too, you can see this. Ripple's right here at this XRP, at this part of the double top M. So if it doesn't break out, this could happen on Ripple too, just naturally dynamic. When this happens, you got to zoom out, use some Fibonacci, go all the way back to the previous price history, maybe turn on some other indicators. It is death crossed again. and price below the pivot, not quite extremely low on the Bollinger Band. Let's look at this volume profile here. You can see there's more trading volume down here, way down here at 4 cents. So it's right in no man's land in terms of the volume trading. This is the quiet zone, I'm going to call it. If we keep crashing, it could crash down to 13 cents or 8 cents, where there's a little bit more volume support. You could see the volume fading down as well for the past 2 years. So it makes sense why Robinhood delisted Cardano and Matic and Solana, because the demand for crypto is low. Yes, I would agree with that. Even on live streams and even on social media, crypto traders, crypto investors have gone very quiet because it's a hibernation crypto market, bear market right now still, long term, for about 2 years. Have we found the bottom yet? I believe the bottom will occur after the SEC regulation problem. In terms of the reversal, we're kind of like in the middle of it right now in terms of sentiment. On the weekly, again, this is the kind of setup where I'm not excited about it yet. I liked this setup back here in 2019 and 2020 because it was a low setup, support setup, and we were rallying a breakout. So that's a very healthy bullish setup. This is not healthy at all. What's happening right now? It would have been healthy if it turned into this 2020 and kept going up. Then people get really excited, hyped on crypto. Everybody comes back to buy. But the lawsuit really stopped, put a hard resistance on that 46 on Cardano, and now it's in price discovery to the downside. So I'm hands off on Cardano until there is fundamental change. I do want to point out that Ripple had a similar SEC lawsuit about unregistered security, and they got kicked off the Binance USA and Binance exchanges, or Binance USA at least. So, there is hope, I'm saying, is that Ripple, it was this year, a couple months ago, that the SEC allowed them, and they won that lawsuit case, Ripple did, saying, we're not an unregistered security. So then they got relisted back on Binance USA. So in the long-term history of crypto, this might just be some, chink in the armor. If crypto is really going to stick around for a long-term period, like the rest of our lives, this is the major hurdle that crypto and exchanges need to overcome. It's make or break time for crypto currencies. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for today's stream. I tried a very short and abbreviated stream today. Hopefully you like the stream and learned something. Again, I'm streaming live on TradingView, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And I stream mostly on weekends, once a week or on a weekday. So next time I'm going to be on the stream, most likely June 25 or 26th. Okay, thank you so much, and hope you have a nice trading week. Bye-bye.